Beloved brethren, let us ponder the workings of the human heart, for jealousy has often been the snare that traps many a soul. How shall we discern when someone harbors envy toward us? It is a subtle foe, creeping in silently, yet wreaking havoc in relationships, peace, and trust. Let us delve into 5 clear signs that may reveal a jealous heart. Subtle undermining is a quiet, insidious way in which jealousy manifests. It rarely announces itself loudly, but slips through cracks, often disguised as harmless comments or casual remarks. The underminer uses this tactic not with the intent to uplift, but to erode, sowing doubt in your heart and others' perception of you. Their words seem innocent at first glance, but upon reflection leave a sting that is hard to shake. What makes subtle undermining particularly harmful is its ambiguity. Unlike outright criticism, it's difficult to confront, because the words themselves can be easily denied or explained away. The person might even laugh off your concern, saying, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way, you're overthinking." This deflection leaves you questioning your judgment, wondering if perhaps you misunderstood their intent. Over time, such interactions can create a mental burden, eroding your peace of mind. Subtle undermining is also a tactic of manipulation. It seeks to make you doubt your worth and abilities, not through direct attack, but by planting seeds of insecurity. These seeds grow quietly, influencing your thoughts and actions. You may find yourself second-guessing decisions or feeling unworthy of the blessings you've worked hard to achieve. The underminer's goal is not merely to critique, but to control. By making you less sure of yourself, they gain a sense of superiority. This behavior often extends beyond words. Actions, or the lack thereof, can also communicate subtle undermining. The jealous person may withhold support when you need it most, fail to acknowledge your contributions in a group setting, or take credit for your ideas. Their silence in moments where encouragement is warranted speaks just as loudly as their words. Over time, this lack of affirmation can leave you feeling isolated, as though your efforts are unseen and unvalued. In relationships, subtle undermining can be especially damaging. It erodes trust and creates barriers to genuine connection. Whether it occurs among friends, family, or colleagues, this behavior sows discord. You may feel the need to constantly defend yourself or prove your worth, which drains emotional energy. Instead of fostering unity and collaboration, the environment becomes one of tension and doubt. As believers, we are called to recognize such tactics and guard our hearts against their influence. The Apostle Paul reminds us to put on the full armor of God so that we can stand firm against the schemes of the enemy. Subtle undermining, though delivered by human hands, often stems from spiritual forces seeking to steal our peace and joy. When faced with such behavior, our response must be rooted in wisdom and love. It is vital to remember that the underminer's actions often have little to do with you and everything to do with their own struggles. They may feel inadequate, unseen, or unloved, projecting those feelings onto you. While their behavior is not excusable, understanding its root can help you respond with compassion rather than resentment. Pray for them, for their heart is burdened, and only God can bring them the healing they need. At the same time, it is essential to set boundaries. Subtle undermining, if left unchecked, can wear down even the strongest spirit. Be mindful of the relationships you nurture and the voices you allow to influence you. Seek counsel and encouragement from those who uplift and support you. Surround yourself with people who reflect the love and grace of God, and do not hesitate to distance yourself from toxic influences. Lastly, anchor your confidence not in the opinions of men, but in the truth of God's Word. The Lord declares that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, equipped with unique gifts and a divine purpose. No amount of undermining can diminish the value He has placed upon you. When others seek to belittle, stand tall in the knowledge that you are a child of God, beloved and chosen. Let their words fall away, powerless against the truth of your identity in Christ. Subtle undermining is a challenge many will face, but it need not define or deter you. Recognize it for what it is, a reflection of another's insecurity, and rise above it. Lean on God's strength. trust in his affirmation, and let your light shine even brighter. For in doing so, you not only disarm the underminer, but also testify to the unshakable power of a life rooted in Christ. Excessive criticism is one of the most glaring signs of jealousy in others. Unlike constructive feedback meant to encourage growth, excessive criticism seeks to tear down rather than build up. The person who constantly criticizes, no matter how hard you try or how much you improve, is often driven by an internal envy. Instead of recognizing your achievements or supporting your efforts, they seek to find fault with everything you do. Their words are filled with negativity, often disregarding any positive outcomes you have achieved and focusing solely on the shortcomings they perceive. Such criticism is not necessarily rooted in truth, but in the critic's personal dissatisfaction or jealousy. When someone feels insecure or threatened by your success or progress, their only way to feel better about themselves is to bring you down. They may even go so far as to nitpick every detail, pointing out minor flaws or mistakes that would be easily overlooked by others. This constant barrage of negative feedback can create a toxic atmosphere, leaving you feeling inadequate or discouraged, despite your best efforts. The purpose of excessive criticism is not to help you improve, but to keep you in a place of perpetual self-doubt. Over time, the person who criticizes incessantly seeks to strip away your confidence, making you question your abilities and your worth. The more you begin to internalize their harsh words, the more you may start to doubt your own judgment and decisions. What once seemed like a clear path to success now becomes clouded with uncertainty, all because of the constant barrage of negativity. Such excessive criticism can often take on a personal tone, targeting not just your actions but your character and identity. They may question your integrity, your motives, or your intelligence, subtly trying to convince you that you are not capable or worthy of success. This goes beyond mere disagreement. It seeks to undermine your very sense of self. Over time, this can chip away at your emotional and spiritual well-being, causing you to retreat into yourself and seek validation from external sources instead of trusting in your own God-given identity. In situations where excessive criticism is aimed at you, it is crucial to remember the importance of boundaries. While it may be difficult to avoid criticism entirely, you do not have to tolerate it in a manner that undermines your spirit. Setting clear boundaries with those who criticize excessively can help protect your emotional and mental health. This may mean limiting your interactions with those who constantly tear you down, or being clear about what kind of feedback is helpful and constructive. Boundaries ensure that you do not allow another's harsh words to define your worth. While it is essential to guard ourselves against the damaging effects of excessive criticism, we should also seek to learn from feedback that is constructive. Not all criticism is born from jealousy, and there are times when others may offer valuable insight. However, it is important to differentiate between feedback that is meant to help you grow and criticism that is meant to tear you down. By discerning the difference, we can grow and mature without allowing jealousy or insecurity to control our interactions with others. When jealousy takes root in the heart of another, one of the most insidious expressions of it is diminished celebration. The person who is envious of your success, your achievements, or your joy finds themselves unable to genuinely celebrate with you. Instead of joining in your happiness, they downplay your victories or dismiss your accomplishments as insignificant. Their response to your good news may be lukewarm at best, or even laden with criticism, leaving you feeling unappreciated and misunderstood. It's a form of spiritual blindness, where the envious cannot see the goodness of God in your life because their focus is turned inward, consumed with comparison. This diminished celebration is subtle, yet it can be deeply hurtful. It may manifest in the form of comments like, "That's nice, I guess," or, "Well, it's not that big of a deal." Instead of sharing in your joy, they deflect, downplay, or even change the subject. Their reaction is not born out of a lack of care for you, but rather out of an inability to rejoice in your success. Their hearts are clouded by feelings of inadequacy or envy, preventing them from seeing your achievement as something worthy of celebration. It is critical to understand that when someone diminishes your celebration, their actions are a reflection of their internal struggles and not necessarily a commentary on your worth. Their inability to celebrate with you is a sign that they are caught in a trap of self-doubt and insecurity. In many cases, they may even be unaware of the subtle ways their jealousy affects their behavior. It is a spiritual wound that only God can heal, and only through His grace can they learn to rejoice in the blessings of others instead of feeling threatened by them. At times, diminished celebration can be a passive form of aggression, where the jealous person may appear outwardly calm, but their behavior communicates resentment. They may avoid congratulating you, fail to acknowledge your accomplishment, or avoid eye contact altogether. This subtle yet sharp behavior leaves you questioning their motives and feeling unsupported. While you may long for affirmation or praise, their cold response may cause you to retreat, second-guessing your worth and questioning your own success. It is essential to guard your heart when you encounter this kind of behavior. When others are unable or unwilling to celebrate with you, do not allow their responses to steal your joy. Recognize that their inability to rejoice in your happiness is more about them than it is about you. In moments like these, it is crucial to reaffirm your value not in the approval of others, but in the love and purpose God has placed within you. Your worth is not diminished by someone else's inability to celebrate your success, and it certainly doesn't negate the goodness that God has bestowed upon you. This behavior of diminished celebration can also manifest in a competitive spirit, where the jealous person may feel the need to constantly one-up you. Instead of joining in the joy of your accomplishments, they may try to shift the focus onto themselves. They might boast about their own successes or minimize the importance of yours in an attempt to place themselves in a more favorable light. This competitive spirit is fueled by jealousy and an unhealthy desire to be recognized or praised above others. When confronted with this behavior, it is important to approach the situation with grace and patience. Instead of responding in kind, you can choose to remain steady in your joy and peace. Do not allow their response to dictate the way you feel about your success. While it can be disheartening when others fail to celebrate with you, remember that your joy is not dependent on their approval. It is a gift from God, and it is yours to cherish regardless of how others react. Another way to handle diminished celebration is by gently addressing the issue. If the person in question is someone you hold dear, consider having an honest conversation with them about how their lack of celebration has affected you. Often those who diminish others' achievements do not fully realize the weight of their actions. By speaking with kindness and humility, you can help them understand the impact of their words or behavior and give them an opportunity to reflect on their own heart. It is important, however, to approach the conversation with the goal of healing, not confrontation. Diminished celebration is a painful but often revealing sign of jealousy. It reflects a person's internal struggle and a failure to celebrate others' victories because of their own insecurities. However, by keeping your heart aligned with God's truth and love, you can rise above this behavior and continue to find joy in your accomplishments, regardless of how others respond. In the end, your greatest celebration will always be found in the Lord, who rejoices over you with singing. In the world of human interaction, there are few behaviors as insidious and perplexing as the backhanded compliment. These remarks may appear on the surface to be flattering, but they often carry with them an undercurrent of criticism or insult, cleverly disguised as praise. The subtlety of a backhanded compliment makes it especially dangerous because it can leave the recipient confused, unsure of how to react, and questioning their own worth. It is a tactic often employed by those who are motivated by jealousy or insecurity, designed to wound while maintaining an outward facade of politeness or kindness. A backhanded compliment might sound something like, "You look great for your age," or "I'm surprised you did so well on that project, considering your background." On the surface, these statements may appear to acknowledge something positive, but a closer inspection reveals the hidden jab beneath the surface. The phrase "for your age" subtly implies that age is a factor that might otherwise diminish one's appearance. And the reference to your background suggests that the person did not expect success based on their history. such comments leave the recipient wondering whether the compliment is genuine or if it's merely veiled criticism. The difficulty with backhanded compliments lies in their ambiguity. They force the person receiving the comment to question the intention behind the words. Are they being praised, or are they being subtly put down? This uncertainty can leave a person feeling off balance, unable to fully embrace the praise because they are too distracted by the underlying criticism. In many cases, these types of compliments create emotional confusion, as they may cause someone to reflect on their own insecurities, especially if the comment targets their appearance, intelligence, or abilities. A hallmark of a backhanded compliment is its ability to undermine confidence while pretending to bolster it. The giver of the compliment may seem well-intentioned, yet their words serve to subtly chip away at the self-esteem of the recipient. It is not a direct insult, but it is an indirect one, like a hidden blade wrapped in velvet. These comments create an emotional dissonance where the recipient feels both flattered and insulted at the same time, leading to a lingering sense of unease. Often, backhanded compliments are a reflection of the giver's own insecurities. People who use this tactic may struggle with feelings of inadequacy, and rather than celebrating others' successes, they seek to tear down those around them, albeit in a covert manner. Their motive is not to uplift, but to subtly diminish others in a way that makes them feel more secure in their own position. This behavior is particularly common among those who are competitive or who harbor jealousy, yet lack the courage or honesty to express those feelings openly. At times, backhanded compliments are used as a form of passive aggression. They may be employed in an attempt to diminish someone's achievement or to reinforce the idea that the recipient is somehow less than their peers. The person delivering the backhanded compliment may even be aware of the harm they are causing, but they disguise their actions in a veneer of politeness or kindness. This makes the remark even more harmful, as it allows the aggressor to avoid taking responsibility for the harm they cause while still achieving their desired effect of putting the recipient down. Backhanded compliments can also function as a form of control. By subtly undermining someone's confidence, the giver of the compliment may be attempting to establish a position of dominance, particularly in social, professional, or personal relationships. By keeping the recipient unsure of their worth, the giver maintains the upper hand, knowing that a person who doubts their own value is less likely to assert themselves. This dynamic creates an atmosphere of imbalance, where one person feels small while the other person feels superior, all under the guise of a compliment. The recipient of a backhanded compliment must learn to discern between true praise and false flattery. While it is tempting to seek validation from others, it is essential to remember that true worth is not determined by the approval or disapproval of others. A backhanded compliment, though veiled in a form of praise, should not have the power to shape one's self-image. It is simply a reflection of the giver's internal struggles, not a reflection of the recipient's true worth. Understanding this can help shield one's heart from the subtle poison of such remarks. It is vital to remember that backhanded compliments are not a reflection of the recipient's inadequacy, but a reflection of the inner struggles of the one delivering them. The insecure, jealous, or passive-aggressive nature of the giver is the true source of the harm, not the person receiving the comment. This understanding can help one cultivate emotional resilience and confidence in the face of such remarks, allowing them to rise above the hurtful words and not let them define their sense of self-worth. In relationships, whether personal or professional, it is important to be aware of the impact of words. Even the seemingly benign comment can have a profound effect on someone's confidence and self-esteem. A backhanded compliment is a tool often used by those who cannot celebrate others without feeling threatened by their success. It is an expression of their own spiritual struggle and lack of contentment. As recipients, we must guard our hearts against the power of these words, remembering that our value is not contingent upon the approval or disapproval of others. In the end, backhanded compliments should not define our worth or lead us into doubt. As we grow in confidence and understanding of our identity, we will become more immune to the harm of these subtle remarks. By trusting in God's love and purpose for our lives, we are able to stand firm in our value and not allow the words of others to diminish our spirit. True peace and strength come from within, not from the fleeting approval of those who fail to see us for who we truly are. In the modern world, comparison and competition have become inextricably linked to our daily existence, often without our conscious awareness. From childhood, we are taught to compare ourselves to others, whether it's in academic achievement, physical appearance, or social standing. In the educational system, children are ranked by grades in the workplace. Employees are measured by their performance. These standards create a culture in which success is determined by how we fare in comparison to those around us. But while this competitive spirit can fuel achievement, it can also be an insidious force that undermines our peace and sense of self-worth. At its core, comparison is the act of measuring our lives against someone else's, often leading to feelings of inadequacy or jealousy. We may look at others and feel that they possess something we lack, be it talent, beauty, or success. The more we compare ourselves, the more we lose sight of our own unique journey. Rather than focusing on personal growth, we begin to define ourselves by external standards, which can never fully capture the depth of who we are. This constant measuring leads to frustration, as we forget that each person's path is different, shaped by their circumstances, choices, and experiences. Competition, too, plays a large role in our modern lives. While healthy competition can push us to excel and achieve great things, it can also breed a spirit of rivalry that fosters jealousy and bitterness. It is easy to become so focused on surpassing others that we lose sight of the value of our own accomplishments. When we are caught in the trap of competition, the pursuit of success becomes less about personal growth and more about besting someone else. This mindset distorts our view of achievement, reducing it to a zero-sum game where there can be no true victory unless someone else loses. One of the most destructive consequences of comparison and competition is the damage it does to our mental health. The constant striving to measure up to others' standards can create chronic anxiety and stress. When we are so focused on being better than others, we become disconnected from our own passions and desires. Instead of pursuing what truly fulfills us, we chase after a vision of success that may not even align with our true values. This disconnection from self can lead to depression, burnout, and a deep sense of emptiness as we find that achieving someone else's version of success does not bring the happiness we anticipated. Comparison often leads to a sense of worthlessness. When we focus on what we lack in relation to others, we fail to appreciate the value that we bring to the table. Everyone has unique strengths and abilities, and each individual has a divine purpose to fulfill in their own way. But when we are caught in the cycle of comparison, we become blind to the gifts we possess, feeling as though we are not enough. We must learn to reject this mindset and embrace the truth that our worth is not contingent upon being better than someone else, but in being true to who we are and the gifts we have been given. There is also a spiritual danger in comparison and competition. The Scriptures remind us that our value is rooted in God's love for us, not in how we measure up against others. When we compare ourselves to others, we are essentially denying the uniqueness with which God created us. We are telling ourselves that we are insufficient as we are, that we must become something else to be worthy. This is a direct contradiction to the truth that God created each of us with a specific purpose and equipped us with all we need to fulfill that purpose. By focusing on competition and comparison, we are not only damaging our mental and emotional health, but also failing to honor the Creator's design. To break free from the cycle of comparison and competition, we must first learn to embrace gratitude. When we cultivate a heart of gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. Gratitude helps us recognize the blessings in our own lives and appreciate the unique journey we are on. Instead of looking to others to define our worth, we begin to look inward and acknowledge the progress we have made. Gratitude fosters contentment, and contentment is the antidote to the discontent that comparison and competition breed. Another powerful tool in overcoming comparison and competition is mindfulness. By staying present and focused on the moment, we can avoid the trap of comparing our lives to others. Mindfulness helps us stay grounded in our own experiences and appreciate the journey we are on. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we are free to pursue our own path with joy and confidence. We can embrace our uniqueness, knowing that we are exactly where we are meant to be. Mindfulness teaches us that success is not about being better than someone else, but about being the best version of ourselves. In addition to gratitude and mindfulness, cultivating self-compassion is crucial in freeing ourselves from the grip of comparison. Self-compassion allows us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend. When we fail or fall short, self-compassion helps us remember that we are not defined by our mistakes, but by our ability to learn and grow from them. By extending grace to ourselves, we can overcome the harsh judgment we often place on our own lives and move forward with confidence. As we grow in our understanding of our own worth and purpose, we will find that we are no longer bound by the need to compare ourselves to others. We will be able to celebrate the successes of others without feeling threatened, knowing that their achievements do not diminish our own. We will pursue our goals with passion and dedication, not out of a desire to outdo others, but out of a deep love for what we do. In this way we can live a life that is full of peace, purpose, and joy, free from the harmful effects of comparison and competition. In the end, comparison and competition are not the true measures of success. The true measure of success lies in our ability to live authentically, to honor the gifts we have been given, and to pursue our unique calling with passion and integrity. By letting go of the need to measure up to others, we can create lives that are marked by contentment, fulfillment, and a deep sense of peace. Gossip is one of the most subtle and insidious ways in which relationships are damaged and reputations tarnished. It begins quietly, often as innocent chatter, but can quickly spiral into something far more destructive. At its core, gossip is the spreading of information, whether true or false, about someone else, typically behind their back. It often feeds off speculation, assumptions, or misunderstandings. While some may see it as harmless, in reality, gossip can cause lasting harm to individuals and communities. The power of words, especially when used carelessly, cannot be overstated, as they can shape perceptions and influence people's lives in ways that are irreversible. Furthermore, gossip often thrives in environments where there is a lack of accountability. When individuals feel safe to speak ill of others without fear of consequences, the temptation to spread rumors increases. The more others join in, the more the gossip gains momentum, becoming a vicious cycle. This sense of anonymity and protection from consequences can embolden individuals to speak about others in ways they would never do to their faces. As a result, the harm inflicted by gossip is amplified, creating divisions and sowing discord between people who might otherwise have had peaceful, healthy relationships. Another significant danger of gossip is its potential to destroy trust. Trust is the foundation of every relationship, whether personal or professional. Once a person is labeled or tarnished by rumors, the damage to their reputation is often irreparable. Even if the gossip is later proven false or exaggerated, the seeds of doubt have already been planted in the minds of others. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. The individual who has been the subject of gossip may find themselves ostracized, misunderstood, and unfairly judged by others who have believed the rumors. One of the most harmful consequences of gossip is the emotional toll it takes on those involved. For the person being gossiped about, the realization that others have been speaking ill of them can lead to feelings of betrayal, humiliation, and isolation. They may wonder who they can trust, as the foundation of their social circles begins to crumble. For the person doing the gossiping, there is often a sense of guilt or shame that follows, especially if they recognize the damage their words have caused. Gossip creates a toxic environment where everyone involved suffers in some way, even if it may not be immediately apparent. Furthermore, gossip undermines the values of respect and dignity. When we engage in gossip, we reduce others to objects of discussion rather than recognizing their humanity. We forget that every person is worthy of honor and privacy, and that no one should be the subject of conversation behind their back, especially when the conversation has the potential to harm them. To respect others is to safeguard their reputation, to speak of them only with kindness, and to avoid the temptation to pass on information that would cause them harm or distress. Despite the damage it causes, gossip is not always easy to resist. It can be tempting to listen to the latest news, to share something that seems juicy or interesting, or to be part of a conversation that bonds people together. But as Christians, we are called to a higher standard. The Scriptures make it clear that our words have the power to either build up or tear down. Ephesians 4:29. We are urged to guard our tongues, to speak words that are wholesome, encouraging, and edifying. Instead of participating in gossip, we are called to speak life into others, to lift them up rather than bring them down. There are also practical ways to address gossip when we encounter it. First, we can choose not to engage. When someone begins to gossip, we can gently redirect the conversation or excuse ourselves from it. If we are in a position of influence, we can take the opportunity to model integrity by addressing the harm caused by gossip and encouraging others to focus on what is true, noble, and right. By taking a stand against gossip, we create a culture of respect and trust, where people can speak freely and confidently without fear of their words being twisted or misused. Ultimately, the battle against gossip requires a shift in our hearts. It requires a commitment to live with integrity, to honor others, and to protect their reputations. We must remember that our words are not just fleeting sounds, they are powerful tools that can either heal or harm. The more we practice kindness, compassion, and restraint in our speech, the more we create an environment where gossip has no place. When we commit to speaking well of others and refraining from harmful words, we help to build a culture of truth, respect, and love. The fight against gossip is a fight for the dignity of others, for the preservation of trust, and for the restoration of relationships. It is a call to live in such a way that our words always reflect the love and respect we have for those around us. Let us take this call seriously, choosing silence or encouragement over harmful words, and building each other up instead of tearing each other down.